Okay, let's go ahead and get started there, everybody. Turn this mic in a little bit more so you guys can hear me a little bit better. Okay, welcome back to another 2 p.m. PST YouTube stream. I'm your host, Strange Road Jim. And as you can see, we got some Pega Academy to study, like always. Now, well, maybe not like always, but okay, so Um, what's on the list for today? Well, today we're going to continue with our Pega journey. We have um, we're still going to be continuing with the rules on Pega, or the rules topic, I should say, rules module. We got to finish that off today. We got I uploaded a few videos last night for today's um, 1 hour section of video uploads and scheduling. And then we got later on tonight Final Fantasy VII, which is the continuation after um, having Sid accompany us for the very first time. So, we got 2 new members on Final Fantasy VII, the original, by the way, not the remake. And we're going to be moving along that. So, but obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube later, then you might not be interested in gaming. You're just here for the Pega, and I understand that. That's one of the reasons why I do these videos, is because not only it helps me as I continue on my path to trying to get the system architect certification, but it might be helpful to you, the watcher, in your journey as you're trying to get to the certification as well. Now, a little bit about me. I'm trying to get that certification, that system architect certification. I had a job prior, but I did not have my certification for it. The training that I received in my last job wasn't the best. There was a lot of us that went to self-study because we had problems with the instructor. Um, not only did the students have problems, but the coworkers of said trainer was also having problems with him. Why nothing happened afterwards, I don't really know. That's, you know, I kind of blame my past work for that, but it is what it is. Um, I have to move on. The fact that I didn't push myself to try to get the certification was a failure on my part. I do kind of wish that there was a little bit more mentorship, when I did get to my um, contract job, but that didn't happen either. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's not much I can really say or do about that. What's past is past. So, um, um, but you should know if you're watching this right now that I'm not an authorized training partner, and you should not consider this as an instructor-led training. Okay. The individuals that do teach these should be well versed in Pega. They should know everything that there is to know about Pega and should be able to teach you everything that they know about Pega. And if you give them a question that they're not familiar with, they should be able to find said answer and give you an appropriate answer later. Okay. If they give you some crap like that's a stupid question, I'm not going to answer it or something along those lines, then well, that's not a great teacher. Um, so, um, so obviously didn't have the greatest of authorized training partner myself. One would hope that if you did go for the instructor-led training, which costs quite a pretty penny in my particular opinion, the $5,000 or so for the training is uh, pretty expensive, and in my opinion. Um, but the one would hope that you get an instructor there that can that knows everything about Pega, can answer your questions, and gives you everything that you need to know about getting the certification with flying colors. That's what I would hope. Um, but you know, every person's experience might be different too. So, one last little bit of information. This is not endorsed in any way by Pega itself. Okay, I'm not getting, I never contacted Pega about doing these streams. They barely know about them. If they even do, I mean, I've talked to them with them about the fact that I do these streams, but um, they haven't there hasn't been any like formal communication with us or anything along those lines. I'm not getting any kind of special benefits from them. I'm not getting any kind of like money or like special treatment or anything along those lines. Okay. The most communication that I have with them is if I find a problem and I put in a suggestion to have them fix the problem, they may respond to me about it. That's it. That's all the correspondence that I've had with the folks over at Pega. So if you think that I'm getting like wealth upon wealth of, from them, then well, you're welcome to think that. Not to say that it's true, but you're welcome to think it. So, um, okay. So we're gonna continue on our journey for the system architect certification. Now, I will let you folks know if you are working towards your business architect, that's done. I've covered the 2 missions and 2 modules already. It's completely done. I'm not going to continue going over those missions and modules. I will suggest if you're working towards your business architect that you also cover your in the Pega Express delivery as well, because that might help you for the business architect. Why they don't include it, I don't know, but they don't. So I would recommend that you do the Pega Express delivery, because these 2 last modules are all about Pega Express. So why they don't cover the full Pega Express and all the information contained in it, I don't know. But if you're working towards your business architect, then I would recommend that you do this mission as well. Um, Most likely I won't. I personally won't touch it, because my objective, what I'm aiming for is the system architect, and I have the 26 modules and 23 challenges to kind of get through. So technically I have like 25, but I'm going to be finishing off the 25th one today. So creating a rule. We have the last topic, which is classes and class hierarchy, to cover today, and then of course we got the module quiz after that. And we might be able to cover both within this particular video. So let's get started, shall we? All right. Classes and class hierarchy. So Pega Platform facilitates rule reuse between case types and applications. Developers often reuse rules from single data elements to entire processes in applications. Rule reuse improves application quality and reduces development time. Sure, but might increase QA time though. Because you might be introducing unknown bugs into your application if you're not careful. So be careful with that. Within an application, Pega platform groups rules into classes according to their capacity for reuse. Each grouping is a class. Each application consists of 3 class types. So you have the work class, contains the rules that describe how to process cases, such as processes, data elements, and user interfaces. The integration class contains rules that describe how the application interacts with other systems, such as integration assets that connect the application to an external customer database or a third-party web server. And the data class contains the rules that describe the data types in the application, such as the customer data type or the order items data type. When you create a rule in App Studio, the application identifies the appropriate class for you. Check the knowledge with the following interaction. I mean, that's not a lot of information there for the uh, initial interaction, but sure. What is the purpose of a class in the Pega Platform application? An integration class organizes rules that describe the data types in the application. No. Work class organizes rules that describe how the application interacts with other systems. No. Class organizes rules within the application based on their capacity for reuse. Maybe. Data class organizes rules that describe how the no. So that one. So, just based off of these questions here, okay, they're basically saying, hey, you're going to need to remember this. Work class, integration class, and data class. You're going to need to remember those there. Okay. Work class focuses on processes, data elements, and user interfaces. Integration focuses on um, um, how the application interacts with other systems. And data is all about, data types of the app in the application. So, um, so, um, so the integration class here that they're talking about is actually the data class. The work class here is actually the integration class, and the data class here is actually the work class. So, all right, parent and child classes. A class can also contain other classes. A class that contains another class is a parent class, while a class that is contained by another class is a child class. A child class can reuse or inherit any of the rules that are defined for its parent class. In the following image, click the plus icons to learn more about the parent and child classes. So, um, so basically, look at what you have here. So, work would be a parent class. IT ticket would be a child class of work. Laptop request would be a child class of IT ticket, and thereby a child class of work. So you get, I guess you could call this like a grandchild, but don't bother with that. Okay. Data is its own parent class because you're not seeing it under work. Okay. But employee is a child of data, and ent here is its own parent class. Okay. The class that contains another class is a parent class. Okay, so in other words, ent isn't considered a parent class. The ent class contains the integration rules such as SOAP and REST connectors for accessing data for external data sources. But the question remains, do you consider it a parent class or not? because it doesn't have a child class, one would think that int, because it doesn't have a child, would just be simply a class. But they don't necessarily state that outright. So I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure what they're gonna go, what they would go with on that one. So child class, a class that is contained by another class, is a child class. Class inheritance ensures that the child class can use all the rules that are defined for the parent class. All right. Work. Work class contains a child class for each case type in your application. Each case type child class contains all the rules that are unique to a case type. For example, the work class contains the IT ticket case type and the laptop request case type. The IT ticket case type class is the parent class of the laptop request case type class. For example, the IT ticket case type class contains an approval process for IT tickets, the standard ticket information form, and properties that are related to IT tickets. I mean, that is a true point. While IT ticket is considered a child class of the work, it is also a parent to laptop request. So the laptop request case type class is a child class of the IT ticket case type class. Laptop request is treated as a specialized version of the generic IT ticket. For example, the laptop request case type class contains a process for laptop configuration, a unique form for laptop configuration, and laptop information, which is supplemented by the items that are inherited from the parent class. So, and the data class contains the rules of each of the data type that is used in your application. For example, the data class contains the employee data type. In Dev Studio, greater than App Explorer, in Dev Studio App Explorer, basically. Okay. You can view the classes and their relationships in your application. To learn more about class hierarchy and inheritance, see Understanding Class Hierarchy and Inheritance. Okay. Classes are layered in multi-level class hierarchy to organize application assets. Classes are organized from the most specific to least specific in the class hierarchy. Class hierarchy determines how developers can reuse rules within the application. The application can use any rule that is available to an application through the class hierarchy. The application cannot use rules that an application cannot access through the class hierarchy. When attempting to identify the rule to use at runtime, Pega Platform starts with the most specific class and expands the search for more general classes. The name of each class identifies the position of the class within the class hierarchy. Consider the TGB IT work class. A hyphen separates each level of the class hierarchy, which means that TGB-IT-work is a child of the TGB IT class, which is the child of the TGB class. In the following image, click the plus icons to learn more about the groups of classes in the class hierarchy. Okay, so class type. Case type classes. A case type class describes a specific case type, which is expense reports or auto insurance claims. The rules that are associated with the case type classes are unique to the corresponding case type, and you cannot reuse them elsewhere in the organization. But can't you just take said rules and put them into another application? Can you do like a copy and paste? Can you not do that? I mean, they talked about the fact that you can reuse, and you should be able to build rules to be reusable. So, work classes contain all the class types in the application. In the Pega Platform application, all case types are associated with a work class. While integration and data classes can occur at any level in the class hierarchy, work classes are generally the most specific of the three classes. Application classes. The application layer contains the required work, integration, and data classes for a single application, and provides the ability to share common rules among these classes. The division layer contains the work, data, and integration classes for the division. The optimal unit layer containing the work, data, and integration classes for the unit. These classes allow the reuse of rules at the division and unit level, such as the approval process that is shared across the entire IT development or IT department, or the travel policy that is specific to employees who are based in Australia. You create division and unit layers only when necessary. The organization layer contains all the classes for applications across the entire business or organization. The organization layer often contains data and integration classes that you can apply across the entire organization. Framework apps. Other application classes, from other applications such as industry-specific Pega platform applications, are contained in what is sometimes referred to as the framework layer. For example, you can use a generic application for ticket management and administration as a baseline for customizing versions of different IT ticket types. Using other applications is optional and determined for each implementation by a more experienced developer. Base classes. Pega Platform provides basic classes with rules that provide basic functionality for case processing. For example, you can access a base class with data elements that record who created a class and the time that is needed to complete an assignment. To support the organization's needs for rule reuse, the lead system architect, LSA, and project leaders typically design the class hierarchy before building the application. That's smart. That's typically what you want to do. Um, figure out the overall, um, you know, um, when you can sit down and figure out with your group, like with everybody, not just, have your system architect, kind of sitting there just doing the work themselves, but if you have like all your other system architects kind of there while you're building the project, not only can they, your system architects might be able to provide, additional information or something like that. They might be able to provide information that that you might be missing. Um, they might describe something where it's like, well, wait, if you do it this way, you might get this result. If you do it this other way, you might get the result that you want, that kind of thing. So don't be afraid to design your overall project structure. Um, um, what are they called? I'm blanking on the name all of a sudden because I haven't used it in forever. Um, what are they called? Um, not quite like a structure chart. Although that's similar to what I'm kind of referring to. Oh, what are they called again? Let's see, class diagram, UML. That's what it is. Um, that's what it was. Unified modeling language. Okay, so uh, okay, so you probably not, I don't know if they're really ever going to touch upon UMLs in Pega, but UMLs can be very handy when you are trying to build a a program from scratch. Okay, if you're not quite sure, um, what you need, it kind of goes into the whole design process where it's um, you figure out, what, everything that you kind of want to build in your application. You're kind of building the UML to, figure out, okay, uh, we need a class to do this, we need a class to do that, we need a class to do this, and these are how they're kind of connected to each other. How is one class going to interact with the other class? What kind of functions should you put in that? What kind of data types do you need inside that UML, or inside that function, um, inside that class? Do you need them, public? Do you need them private? Do you need them protected? Whatever, Um, the idea of you know, building up that particular structure early, okay, with pretty much everybody in your group speeds up the process a lot, okay? Because one, not only do you have everybody pretty much on board with it, knowing what, other people are going to be kind of working on and doing and so on and so forth, but you know what they're kind of expecting. Like if you're basically building a class and you don't know what the other if you need information from a person from the other class and you don't tell them what information that they are needing to pass, like, hey, you basically tell them, you basically code up the program and say, hey, I'm looking for a double, and they don't know what you're looking for, and they go, okay, we're going to pass that guy an int. Sure, you might be able to use it, but it's still, it's so much easier when you can have everybody kind of on the same page with that, okay? And when you can build that UML, or the overall structure of it, it makes the process so much faster because now, um, if you build something like that early, at the very beginning without um, and you go over it, you refine it, and you make sure that everything is looking the way you want it to look for the final result. it it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna need to, you might change things down the line. Okay, I mean, that's par for the course for any kind of agile development, but um but you can always like revise that UML structure, what have you, later on, right? So, but the thing is that, you know, I've been in a group that did a UML before, and we got through that process quickly. We all knew what we needed to do. I worked on my part. We had other programmers working on their other classes and the like. We passed information between the classes, properly without any fuss. Um, and we were able to build our program, very nicely, very cleanly. And we did it in such a way where, um, you know, I mean, I could probably run that program right now and not have a single problem with it. You know, um, I don't really remember if where I might actually have it now that I think about it. It might be gone, but still, um, that that UML that we made, okay, just kind of giving an overall, um, idea as to what classes we needed to make, we needed to build, the functions, the data types, everything. That, um, we were on that this was during a college course program. We were on the quarter system, um, and we needed to build a full program that was usable to anybody. That we hand it off to someone, they can use it on their own. So, and it was, what was it? Group of 6 people, team of 6, I think, or was it a team 4? I think it was a team of 6. Um, but still, it's hands down, it makes the programming um, 100 times easier. Okay, because otherwise, um, if you don't do that, then you're going to have programmers trying to build different parts of the class type or different parts of the program, thinking that you need to do it this way, but another person might be thinking, oh, well, you need to do it this other way, and there's no communication there. Okay, and you're going to have a lot of problems, you're going to have a lot of bugs, and it just makes things a total mess. Don't do that. You know, you and your team should really kind of sit down and try to figure out the overall structure of it. Everybody's on board, everybody agrees. You're not having any kind of misconceptions or anything along those lines. Everybody knows, what they kind of need to do, when to do it, how to do it, and it you're done. You know, all you have to do is just program it all out, and you're good because everything got fleshed out at the very beginning. During that design phase. So don't think that it's unnecessary. Believe me, that can be very, very handy, in building an application. So don't don't shortcut that. Okay? Can't stress that enough. Drag the rule reuse scenario on the right to the class hierarchy on the left. To promote to describe the rule reuse where in the class hierarchy do describe the rules belong. Okay, so data transform that is specific to the onboarding case type. So most likely there. An SLA rule that can be reused for HR, finance, and legal applications in the TGB organization. Not sure about that one yet. A flow rule that can be reused for onboarding, self-evaluation, and benefits enrollment case types in the HR orientation application. So I would say that would be that, and should be that. So yep, because as you can see, an SLA rule that can be reused for HR, which is right there, finance which isn't covered by either one of these two, and legal applications in the TGB organization. So, I wanted to be absolutely 100% sure about this, okay? But, as you can see, finance and legal applications are not covered on either one of these two. So that should have probably been, my first clue on that. But I wanted to read through the others, right? Make sure, you look through everything a little bit, you know. So, I mean, if you're absolutely certain, then fine, but, be careful with that. You have to be absolute certain. A flow rule that can be reused for onboarding, self-evaluation, and benefits enrollment case types in the HR orientation application. So, you have the HR orientation, but they have onboard, can be reused for onboarding, which is right here, but it can also be reused for self-evaluation and benefits enrollment case types. So it has to be something that's a little bit more than just the onboarding itself. So, and there you go. Okay, so we're all done with this particular topic. So if you have any kind of questions or comments or anything along those lines, then feel free to give them. We're going to go ahead and move on to the module quiz. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of questions, but we'll find out. It's only 5 minutes, so maybe 3 questions given. Oh, there's 5 questions. Okay, so okay, drag each description from the bottom into the appropriate space of a class hierarchy. So okay, realty data organization data class. Properties of tenant info. Background check header. Rules to connect the application to third-party server. Flow rule for post-property case type. Okay. This this seems a little more difficult than what I would expect from this. I'm not sure. Well, okay. One thing that I'm kind of thinking about right now is the fact that they have the real co data organization data class, right? And the only one that has the real co data is this one. So one would think that that one would be right there, right? So I mean that should be that answer. At least one would think. Um, Integration is about connecting the application to a third-party server, but there's no integration here. I mean, unless they're saying int is the integration, which is bad. Don't do that. It should be fully integration here, not just int, because int is a um, is a Java keyword. you know, it's part of C language. It's every language out there that is an integer, not integration. So, but I'm assuming that they're trying to say that this is integration. I hope not. If the feedback says that that's correct, then we got issues. I gotta send a suggestion about that because that should not be that. They need to reword this class because that's bad. That's bad design. You know. Um. So yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out. Um. Uh. I don't know. Um. I'm not I'm not really sure about the others here, to be honest. Um, because it almost feels like any one of these could probably fit in them at all. It almost feels like that, but not quite. So what I'm feeling right at this moment in time is properties and tenant info would probably be there. Um, because tenant info seems like it would be, part of obviously part of the lease management. Obviously, seeing that you have the majority of these are under the lease management anyway, but properties would feel like they are part of the like the data class or data types or whatnot. So that's what I'm kind of feeling like right there. Flow rule for post property case type sounds like more of the workflow, which means the background check header is the UI pages. But again, I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Let's do the feedback and check. Okay, so I was right, but we need to talk to them about this because that's bad. That is bad wording. This should be integration, not int. This bad wording. Do not use programming keywords like this. Okay, they stressed it enough in in Pega itself that you need to be very specific as to how you name things. This is not this is not specific at all. Okay, the fact that I could interpret this as a variable, an integer, means that this is a badly worded class. So don't do this. Um, and I'm going to stress that to them a lot on that because that is bad design. Hold on a second. Um, okay. Screenshots. Um, throughout Pega, you mentioned that we should be very descriptive of class names and variable names. So on and so forth. However, you named the class int. Um, the class name should be descriptive, so it should be something like integration or something along those lines. When I first looked at the class name, my mind immediately went to the what are they called again? Hold on. Went to the data type, int, as in integer. Which looking for something within the answers for an integer-based value, obviously wasn't great. Please change the picture with a renaming of int. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Based on the blank, the HR class is a blank to the HR hiring class. The HR class has a work class, integration class, and data class. While integration and blank classes can occur at any level of the class hierarchy, blank classes are generally the most specific of the three classes. Okay, so So most likely, based on the class hierarchy, the HR class is the parent class to the hiring class. Um, while integration and blank classes can occur at any level of the class hierarchy, blank classes are generally the most specific of the three classes. I'm not sure about either one of these two. I believe it's integration and work, and data are the most specific, but I could be wrong on that. Let's check the feedback. Yeah, okay. It's the other way around. So obviously, um, I need to look at those a little bit more. So let's move on. Application references a data element found in the work class. How is the rule inherited by the application? Um, I'm needing to use the restroom here. They're real fast there, folks. I'm sorry. I'll be right back, and we'll finish this in just a second. Stay right there. Okay. Sorry about the wait there, folks. Sorry that nature called a little too soon, but it had to be done. So, okay, let's get back into this, shall we? An application references a data element found in the work class. How is this rule inherited by the application? Um, so by adding the rule set that contains the property to the application, by adding Pega rules to as the built-on application, by applying pattern inheritance, by applying directed inheritance. So, um, so remember that pattern is um, pattern is class hierarchy. Directed is kind of um, like lateral. Pattern is vertical. Directed is lateral. Um, so, and it's hard to say whether or not, you're going to be, whether or not the application is based off of work or not. Um, so you could either try to add the rule set that contains the property to the application, which to me doesn't seem like that would be the best way of going about it. I would imagine that using direct inheritance would probably be the best choice, I think. So, yeah. Inherit rules defined for the work class, exactly. So, I I think the reasoning behind not being able to do the first one is the fact that you don't actually have access, to the rules of the work class. It's pretty much kind of locked and so. That's kind of part of Pega already, so that's the reason why, you know, adding the rule set is, something that isn't like the best choice to go about doing it. Directed inheritance is the way to go. So, which two statements about rules are correct? Each time you change a rule, you have to rename it. Don't think you need to do that. It is best to recreate all your rules in Dev Studio manually. No. Rules are automatically updated when you make a change in App Studio. Yeah, I believe so, yeah. Rules created in Dev Studio can be made available to users in App Studio. I hmm. I mean, can be made available, yes. So I'm thinking both of these. Yeah. Um, whether or not like all rules are going to be made available to users in App Studio, I think that's something that they didn't, they said that that might not always be the case. But, the fact that, some rules can be made available is a true statement. Um, so App Studio is a low-code development environment that manages the code for you. That doesn't really tell you much about number three there, folks. um, so um, so whenever you know, add anything in App Studio, whenever you create anything in App Studio, it creates the rules for you. So, and if you change something like that, then obviously those rules will change along with it. So I mean, yes, this is a correct answer, but it's like they probably could have reworded that a little bit better, in my opinion. But whatever. It's not wrong, but yeah. Drag each inheritance type to the appropriate description of the rule inheritance. The site user dashboard header rule is used in the user portal inherited from base class. That would be directed. SLA rule and the reimbursements application is inherited from the new hire application. That would be pattern inheritance, would it not? Or is that more directed inheritance? Not sure. Let's move on. Case-wide action to update shipping address and the Inc. Sales app workshop class is inherited. Oh yeah, that's definitely a pattern. Email correspondence rule and blah 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 is inherited from the sales division layer. That would be pattern inheritance. Um, so I'm going to leave this one on directed inheritance because it's coming from two different applications. Okay, notice how on this one you have, you know, one, one long series, you have your class hierarchy, right? About it all. And you have the email correspondence rules inherited from the sales. So the new account email correspondence is inherited from the sales. So that would be, more class hierarchy. Okay. Same with this one. Okay, is the fact that uh, the update shipping address and the shop class is inherited from the work class. So it's, again, that's pattern inheritance. These are coming from two different applications. So, um, so it's like you have one branch, on one side, and you have another branch on the other side. Reimbursements on one side, new hire on another branch altogether. So, um, so while you could particularly say that the SLA rule might be at like the organizational layer, um, most likely it wouldn't be. So most likely it'd be, somewhere in in that particular branch. So it wouldn't necessarily be pattern at that level. So, and pretty much anything that gets inherited from base class is the directed inheritance. So yep, there we go. Welcome back there, short snake. How you doing, there, bud? And there we go. Submit activity. And that should be the 100%. So there we go. All right. So one of the things that I should be kind of working on, or one thing that I should probably work on a little bit is knowing the difference between, you know, data and work. So, so I need to kind of look at these a little bit more about, work class, integration class, and data class. So, um, one would, my mind kept on kind of going towards data because, you know, when it comes to data types, you're very specific. You're not going anything different. You're not necessarily changing up the data types or anything along those lines. But again, I'm not quite sure everything that the work class would be doing as well. So, I don't know. I'm not sure um, what's going on there. So, or I'm not, you know, I'm not 100% sure on those classes. So, Short Snake, remember me? Well, I mean, you were here yesterday, so yes. Yeah, I remember you. All right. So, yeah, we don't need to stay on the module quiz any more than that. So we are all done with the creating a rule um, module. So everything is done there. So we are going to be moving on to the next module tomorrow, which is the application data manipulation. 30 minutes, three topics. That's going to be a pretty lengthy one there, folks. A lot of information going to be thrown at us on there, and then of course we have the challenge after that. So there you go. But that's going to be it for our study session for Pega. So for those of you that are watching right now and um, getting a lot of useful tidbits from this, I want to thank you for continuing to be with me on these study sessions. Hopefully you got quite a bit of information out of that. Again, feel free to leave a comment or, help out with the YouTube algorithm. That would be fantastic. Check out the description for, social media links and, all the other additional links that are down there, such as like the Patreon, Throne, Discord, and, lots of them down there. So feel free to check those out if you're interested in any of that. Um, my team robot. If you're, there's a document already made talking about, what Team Robot is all about, you know, why I made it, um, and what it's built for. So feel free to check that out if you're interested. And that's it. We're going to go ahead and shut down this video now. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.